Running Sentences presents One Dead Man, Part 7. A Funny House. Confusion reigns between Charles and Nate as both try to get away from the building that they've been put in. It turns out that escaping from the military isn't exactly easy. This story is written and narrated by Michael Honore. It is a work of fiction, so any names, characters, businesses, events, and situations within the story are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real people, situations, characters, businesses, events, and/or fictional businesses, characters, events, and so on is purely coincidental. Copyright 2026, Michael Honore. All rights reserved. Charles stepped out of the room, dragging along the young lady with him. Not his choice. She'd grabbed a hold of him to stop him once again. And, well, now he finally did come to a stop. This drab cement building had a lobby, though it wasn't much of one, and it had two guards wearing black suits, blocking him from going any further. They turned at the sound of the door opening. "Excuse me, but how would I leave this building? I've been brought here by mistake," Charles said, trying to offer a smile that wasn't quite believable. "He's trying to escape, guards. He's a bad man who thinks he's seen things." "I really haven't seen anything at all, so I don't know what this weird, crazy lady is talking about," Charles retorted. "Sir, please let go of the woman." Charles raised his arm to show he was in fact her holding on to him. "Like I said, crazy lady who thinks I belong here of all places. And I haven't seen anything here, so if you could just point to the door so I could leave." The two guards moved towards him and the lady. He wasn't sure if they were listening to him, though, so he stiffened up, ready to fight. And with the way they were looking at him, and not her... "Sir, please stop lying." "I am not lying. Why would I lie?" Charles replied, looking at them crazily. "To try and get out of here," the guard replied. "I have not even been in here, aside from here for a few minutes, because people dropped me off in that room in there." He tried explaining, but the feeling that they were considering him more and more crazy from his own words made Charles wince. They were also rapidly approaching now, with arms held out in a sort of calming fashion that would also give them a chance to grab him, should they get close enough to do so. "Listen to the nice guards, Mr. Charles, and all will be all right. We just want to get you inside and help fix you," the lady clinging to him said. "There's nothing wrong with me, lady." He chose to run, bolting as fast as he could, zigging and zagging to get away from the guard's grasp, and his movements were a surprise to everyone, including himself, as he aimed for the door beyond the two guards. Charles was very pleased that his efforts worked, though the woman was still clinging to him, which slowed him down. "Let go of me." "I am here to help you, sir. If that means holding on, I will do that." "I will not be the victim of some torture scheme, your torture schemes, to tell you what you want to know. Everyone has already told me about that, so it won't work," Charles protested. "What are you even talking about?" she replied. Her grip was loosening as he ran, and she skidded along beside him. It wasn't enough to shake her completely, but there was the feeling that it might fall apart, with any luck, should he keep zigging and zagging. "To the Navy people who brought me here and said it was going to interrogate me until I told them all that they wanted to know, specifically about certain missing, familiar-looking person based on a shirt. As I told them, and I tell you, I don't know shit." He'd made it to the door, only for it to open inward on him, smacking him right in the head with some force. Things quickly went dark, as though he saw a few people rushing into the room before he did lose consciousness. With Ronald's words ringing in his ears, Nate found himself pushed through a doorway into a slab office space. It was busy with people typing away at computers and blazing, ignoring him, and had just come in. The grip on his arms had subsided, and with a clink, the door behind him shut, making him think that he was now all on his own. Just to make sure, Nate glanced behind him, and it was confirmed. A cleared throat made him spin back around. Who are you? I'm Nate. I got pushed into here by two people who claim they wanted me to do something. Did they now? Yes, they weren't very nice, and they kept insisting that I go into this building to help solve a crime. A crime, sir? He was asked this by a young woman standing in front of him. Nate studied the short woman in front of him. She wore glasses and a strict-looking outfit that sort of reminded him of what most people like to imagine librarians would wear, or at least in movies or some sort of erotic sort of things. There was the lingering question on his mind if he could manage to get her to stop asking these questions about what he just said. Something like that, anyway. Who are you, by the way? That is unimportant to the matter of you being here. You are not authorized to be in this area. Am I not? Well, that's terrible. Open up the door and I will leave at once, okay? She was shaking her head, though. Security has already been called, sir. There is no leaving once you are in here. Well, that is not so good. Does everyone get assigned to work on computers while here, or is that just the actual workers? I am not answering your questions. Guards suddenly appeared by his side, making Nate very nervous about all of this. He froze up a bit as they grabbed a hold of his arms. I really can't just be, let go. I don't even know what's going on here, and I don't even remember what I've seen. Which is nothing, by the way. Come with us, sir. I don't really have a choice in the matter, Mr. Guard. That's right. Now if you could answer a few questions for us along the way, this matter would be sorted out quickly. The guard replied. I was pushed in here by some person called Ronald and a person called Charm. The latter is a co-worker from the mainland, and they claim that something is wrong here. He spewed all of this out in the hopes that it would help him. The nagging belief, though, that it wouldn't, and he'd blown all of his information on the guards, probably was going to mean that this was going to go badly. Is that really what happened? Nate nodded as they started to drag him between the rows of desks and computers, the two of them blocking his view from the screens as they dragged him past towards the door on the far side of the room. Yes, they want me to help people escape from here. How will you accomplish that? The guard asked. No clue. Never been here. No idea what it is. No idea what I'm supposed to be doing. And I told them that I couldn't do it. Not that you wouldn't do it, sir. See, the thing of it was, they're the ones who put the cuffs on me and making it easy to drag me here in the first place. It's what's making all of this go so easy for you, so it wasn't that I couldn't or wouldn't, it's just that I was forced to. Like you could escape if you didn't have them on? I could give up more of a fight if I didn't. I mean, not win or anything like that, you probably have weapons, but you cannot deny that I probably wouldn't go as easily if I didn't have these on, which I might add proves that I'm trustworthy and should be listened to. It didn't feel like either guard was actually listening to him rattle on as the door was opened for them, and into a dark room they plunged. A padded sill came into view for Charles as he lay on the floor. He wasn't exactly sure what he'd been expecting, and this sight felt on the more expected side of things, but it still didn't feel right. Oh, you're awake? A voice called out. I don't know, am I? You certainly look like it, Mr. Charles. Perhaps I should get some more rest. Oh, you could do that, or you could talk to me about some things. Sleep, whoever you are, sounds much better than talking, Charles said, still staring at the ceiling and not wanting to look away from that. Despite this, a tall man in a white overcoat came into view, hovering over him. And why would that be, Mr. Charles? No one listens to me when I tell them things. Well, what do you know? I'm the type of person who loves to listen to others talk. Charles frowned at this man, because it was exactly what a doctor would say to get him to do something. Plus, with all that was going on lately, yeah, that was not exactly trustworthy. That's nice. If you could show me the way out of here, though, that would be much better, Charles said and waited for the usual response. Yeah, I can't let you out, though, the man in the white coat said. No, why not? Do you think I'm a madman, or do you have orders from the government not to let me go? Is that what you're about to tell me? I already knew all of that, by the way, Charles responded. No, I must simply check you over before any release is to be thought about. Forgive me if I don't exactly believe you or anything you're saying, Mr. White-coated man. Perhaps if you get up and stand up, your mind will change. Charles nodded to this and then said, I'm doubtful about that. Still, he slowly got up to his feet, looking about the white padded walls in this far too small room. It felt crowded with this doctor person in there, as well as him. The door, though, was closed. It's better to talk than to clam up, Mr. Charles. We want to help you, not force you to stay here forever. Are you the head doctor for this establishment or something? Or are you even a doctor, or not just another madman? I am Dr. Owen, and yes, we do let people out of here. Charles studied this man through narrowed eyes, still not believing him when he said this. Nothing about him was really trustworthy, and the door was closed and probably locked. So maybe he was telling the truth, maybe he wasn't. Moving towards the door, he decided to pound on it to see if someone would come and open it. This Dr. Owen watched him calmly, not doing anything. The door swung open after a minute, with a burly-looking man standing in the doorway. What's going on here? I want this man out of my room, Charles said to this guard person who entered the door. You're not going to ask to be let out, Mr. Charles? No, the guard would say no, so it's pointless to ask. Therefore, I don't want to waste any more time dealing with either of you. So please go away, fake doctor. You will have to deal with me at some point, Mr. Charles. I am your doctor, after all. Charles shot a look over to the security guard to see if he reacted at all to that. But no, a blank, neutral expression that was patiently dealing with them sat there. That's nice, Doctor. I won't do it, so please leave me alone and never come and see me again. There was a shrug from the man named Owen, who walked to the door. The man guarding it let him pass and then stepped back so that they could slam the door shut. Nate sat handcuffed to a table in a room that was lit by fluorescent lights, and not pretty nice ones that made the room feel welcoming. Nope, this felt like he'd been stuffed into some sort of police station interrogation room, and his only way out would be to admit to everything. Pity that he'd already done that, though. The door opened, and in strolled a man he really didn't want to see. Gino. Hello, Mr. Nate, once again. It has been a little bit. Not long enough. I thought I was never going to see you again. Oh, yes. Some might say that as they don't like me meddling in all affairs of politicians and all of the distance between us. Seeing each other last was not long enough. But I have approval from the tippy-top of all politicians now, so this is just going to have to be how it is. Good for you. Why do I care? Oh, I think you know why. We need to know what's going on. Go through all that I don't know any. We don't need to go through all of the I don't know anything, but something about our dear leader disappearing has happened, and I've been around for all of it. The whole lot of it is played out. Stop repeating yourself, Mr. Nate. It isn't helpful. Nate would have crossed his arms in dissatisfaction, but all he could do was sit there uncomfortably, as his hands were cuffed to the table, and this man just lectured away at him. Again, don't care about that. You should, as you and your friend Mr. Charles are about to be accused of murdering the leader of our country. Didn't do it, so do your worst. In his finely tailored suit, Gino came over to the table and leaned over it so that he was face to face with Nate. The smell of a faint mixture of some sort of perfume and something that smelled faintly burnt made Nate curl his nose, all he could do to get away from it. I can get you out of this. You said that before and provided no evidence that you could in fact do such a thing like that. Forgive me, but nice try, and shut the fuck up and go away. You don't want your freedom, Nate? I do, yes, Gino. But you aren't going to give it to me, and not without a lot of stipulations attached. I won't agree to those. Do you not understand anything? No matter what you do or don't do, you're in leagues of trouble. It comes down to me helping you out, Gino announced with a gleeful grin. Are you saying I have no choice in the matter? You really don't, Mr. Nate. Well, I can't go along with it anyway, so please leave me alone. Gino pulled out the chair across from Nate and moved to sit down. He sat with a bit of a sickening plop, and a sigh, for lack of a better term, sounded self-satisfied when it came out. I regret to inform you that you're going to be charged with the murder of our dear leader. You will soon be taken off with this island, if you survive the hordes of angry followers once they learn this news, and, the islanders will be the first, and then there's going to be people on the mainland who will do whatever they want. That's funny, Nate responded with a shrug. Is it now? What exactly is funny? I was told that that missing person was alive. I don't know if it is who you say it is, but somebody's alive that I was to find. The expression on Gino's face, which had been a sort of okay with everything and sort of enjoying the moment, turned deadly serious. He'd been lolling back in the chair and snapped to attention, as did his eyebrows shooting up his forehead. What was that? Alive, and in this building, apparently. And you know this how? Some sort of secret agent said it to me when they dragged me here. They apparently want me to help get him out of here, since apparently I can do that. Clearly you cannot. Exactly, which makes this whole thing silly, since, as you can see and attest to, I got caught. But you only care about your dear leader, don't you? There were some beads of sweat forming on Gino's forehead that were rapidly beginning to descend. Yes, I want to see him alive, and, well, you say he's here? Our dear leader is here, that's what you mean, right? That's what I was told, but I don't know. Go talk to someone else about it. Yes, I may actually have to go do that. Gino rose from the seat abruptly, looking about and unhappily at things. There was a deep frown on his face, and he wasn't exactly concentrating. For Nate, it was the most welcome sign, as it meant he was about to be left alone, hopefully. When Gino went to the door, he knocked on it, and shortly it was opened by a guard who looked in. You rang? Some terrible news has come to my attention, and it needs to be looked into immediately, Gino told the guard. Okay, what is it, sir? With a desperate finger that pointed towards Nate, Gino spoke in hurried words. He claimed our friend is in the establishment. The blank stare from the guard showed that he wasn't exactly in the loop about things. It was a thought that greatly amused Nate, watching the whole thing while stuck to the table and just seeing blankness. Like there was supposed to be some grand conspiracy, but not everybody was in on it. Oh, what friend, Mr. Gino? Never mind that guard. Get that one, who we need, and do a quick tour of this building. In the middle of the night, Mr. Gino? It doesn't matter what time it is. We need to find our friend. Okay, you'll have to wait a second. I don't have the keys to his cuffs. Fine, fine, go, but hurry. Time is of the essence. The door slammed shut, and Gino, after saying this, turns to smile at Nate. There were a lot of footsteps that were going by Charles's room, which was making it a bit difficult to get some sleep. This was made worse by the fact that they hadn't given him a bed to sleep on. Nope, just this padded floor, which was lumpy and never felt quite right to lay on. "Hey, you awake?" A whispered voice snuck into his room from somewhere, which was weird. Charles had quickly looked to the door, but the sound wasn't coming from there, from what he could tell. "Me?" Charles eventually answered. "Yeah, you're the one who they brought in recently, right?" "I am? Okay. What do you want?" Charles asked, rather confused, and still not knowing where this voice was coming from. "To know who you are." "Huh?" Such a weird question. Why would this person who sounded male want to know that? What was he to him, or something like that? Charles' mind didn't want to figure out the right order of words, or the last few days had been exhausting to even think about and weighed heavily on him. It had drained him, and more questions were simply not welcome. "Who are you?" the stranger asked. "I'm nobody, mister," Charles replied. "I don't believe you. There's a ton of people who've made a whole lot of noise about you being brought in here, and you have to be someone then," this stranger said. No, I'm a person who was caught up in a situation that I have no control over, and I don't want to be a part of it. Whoever you're talking about has decided I'm important to their plan, but I'm not." "Why would they do that?" the stranger asked. "To have someone to blame for what's happened?" Charles said, but he didn't really believe it. The voice went quiet for a second and then came back. "What happened?" "Something to do with a guy going missing who was wearing a puke yellow shirt. I don't really know much more than that. Someone might be dead. I don't know, and most certainly don't know anything about it." There was a silence from wherever this voice had come from. For a second, Charles wondered if it had been one of those things where they trap him into confessing something. But since there was nothing to confess to other than him running around the island and trying to get off of this damn rock of an island, it all felt a bit far-fetched. "You still there, mysterious and strange voice?" No response. Charles sighed, tried to turn to his side, and yet some more asleep, though the noises out in the hallway of hurried steps going past seemed to be increasing, and it made it difficult to do so. Still cuffed, but now out of the interrogation room, Nate was guarded by 2 guards on either side. Ahead of him, Gino rushed in a hurried, weird, semi-step-hopping fashion. The man obviously had never really had to run or briskly walk in his life, and it was disturbing to have to watch that sort of thing. Unfortunately for Nate, he couldn't exactly look away as the guards kept him moving forward and just kept him pointed in that direction. "Hurry!" "To where, Gino? I don't know anything about this establishment or where your friend might be." "That doesn't matter. We will soon find him, but we don't have time to not hurry." "Why?" At this question from Nate, Gino swirled on him to growl and with an angry expression on his face. "Because we don't. Our great and glorious friend is probably in grave danger, Nate." "Can't you just check the computer systems to see who's checked into this place?" "And have people aware that we're searching for him, let alone the fact that we don't know if he was checked in under a different name?" Gino pointed out. "All of this makes it sound like you really don't know what's going on here. You're the richest man on this side of the world, or at least that's what everyone says. Don't you have some sort of power to make people ignore the fact that you're poking your nose into things?" Still facing him, Gino shook his head no, then spun on his heels. "Hurry and come along, Mr. Nate." Sleep was eluding Charles, so he sat up and stared at the door where all of the noise was coming from. If this was how this place was going to be every night, staying here was not going to be easy. It was probably better than whatever madness was going on in the outside world, though. So checks and balances, or whatever the idiom was, he thought. The door suddenly opened, and he blinked at the figure now standing in the doorway. His room was brightly lit, so the light from the hallway wasn't a problem, though it did feel a bit off. It was nighttime now that he could see a window that was pitch black outside from the open doorway. "Hello, you are?" Charles asked when he realized that there was a person there. "A secret agent." "Oh, another madman. Just what I need in my life." "I'm not a madman. Why would you say that?" Charles fixed the man with a stare to make sure that he understood that he wasn't exactly believable. "Who goes around saying they're a secret agent, and while in a madhouse?" Charles pointed out. "I'm one, though the circumstances of me having to tell you all of this are rather weird, and we aren't exactly in a madhouse as you so put it." "How can you say that? We aren't in that sort of place, where they put crazy people," Charles countered. "Well, according to your government, those are all shut down years and years ago. So unless this is some sort of secret government facility, which it isn't..." "It is too, Mr. Weird Man." No, it isn't. Not a secret madhouse, as you might put it. The place is government-run and is a hospital, but it's not really secret, and not a madhouse." "Okay, fine, it isn't that. But that doesn't mean you aren't mad, crazy, or weird," Charles said. "Well, yeah, I am not any of those, but come on, hurry, we must depart." "Why would I want to leave?" "To get freedom and to tell the world about what's going on here." Charles slowly got to his feet, dusting himself off, not sure about any of this. He had no shoes, he was in clothes that just were grey, drab, and there was a pounding on his head from being hit in the head. This was clearly just another trap, just like the voice had been, which sparked another question in his mind. Quick question though, were you the one talking to me not that long ago through the walls or something?" Charles asked. "No, sir. I just got here, Mr. Charles. Was someone talking to you in your head or something else?" "I now sound like the madman. Great. No, I don't... There was no voice in my head. It was from the room next door or the door. Not really sure. And I don't want to leave here, as there's nothing out there but madness, which seems, at this point, contagious." In a hurry, the man came into the room, grabbed for Charles' arm, which he did his best to avoid. The man, though, was faster and more awake, easily grabbing him and pulling him out of there. The hallway Charles was dragged into was busy with activity. People, nurses, doctors, and apparently patients were all running about. Seemingly, no one had any direction that they were going, but away from where they were. Charles took this long moment to look around and trying to see what was up, but none of it made any sense to him. "Can you explain what is going on?" he asked the strange man who dragged him out here. "Yes, people think there's a bomb threat to the building, so everyone wants out." "Did you set this up, Mr. Secret Agent?" Getting pulled along by the arm and into a swirling madness of people wasn't fun. He was bumped to and fro as they rushed, and Charles felt rather sluggish, his body not responding completely to his orders. "It wasn't me, no. I'm taking advantage of it, though, because it would be stupid not to. But whoever did this didn't inform me that they were doing it." It sort of made sense to Charles, even though nothing really did anymore. "Wait, how did you know I was here? I am not important," Charles found himself asking. "You have managed to capture the attention of plenty of people who have talked to me, Mr. Charles. Thus, when we found out you were here, we came here." "Who is we, weirdo?" "My agency." "Do they have a name or fancy letters that everyone calls them by?" "Yes, we do have a name, but not one we do tell strangers to what they can call it. It wouldn't be very secretive of us just to tell every person and people who we are. Well, that makes me want to come with you and see what you're doing a whole lot. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Let go of me and get the fuck off of me, crazy person. I'm not crazy, thank you, the man replied. You could have fooled me. They'd reached the end of a hallway that ended with a T intersection. Coming to the stop, this man, holding his arm in a vice-like grip, looked both ways. Charles did the same in hopes of escape, but then got distracted when he noticed someone familiar looking in the distance. Was that Nate? What was he doing here? I think we need to go this direction. The so-called secret agent began pulling him to the left, away from the sight of Nate. For a moment, Charles fought the thought to say something about going the other way, but couldn't bring himself to talk about that. Can you at least introduce yourself? Oh, I didn't do that, did I? My name is Agent Humbert, and you are in grave danger. Stop saying it like you're in a movie. It doesn't make me want to follow or listen to you. But you are doing those things? I don't have a choice. Your grip is stupid and I'm apparently terribly fucking weak, Charles complained as he was pulled away. Gino was leading the way through this building, which had plenty of people out and about. Some looked like patients that belonged in straitjackets or in an asylum. Not knowing if he should say anything or not about that, Nate stared and kept moving, mostly thanks to the guards by his sides. The really big people, the VIPs, are stored on the 3rd or 4th floor, I believe, Gino announced. No one responded to the question from Gino, as they were jostled about. Nate had barely managed to hear it and frowned when he did, looking at these two guards, since they would probably know more about that than he would. Sir? One of the guards responded. Where are the important people in this building, guard? Oh, we don't have important people stored here, the guard replied. What do you mean? Never mind. Let's go to the 3rd floor and see what is there, okay? Gino growled in frustration. You're leading the way, Mr. Gino. Giving a dirty look to this guard, Gino stormed off towards the elevators. He didn't get far, though, as a crowd of people pushed him away towards the door. The guards had an easier time as people were actively trying to avoid them, which made it an easier time for Nate, though he was getting a lot of sympathetic looks from passerbyers at the plight of being stuck between them. Eventually, though, the group found themselves in front of the emergency stairs and were getting ready to go upwards. End of part 7 of One Dead Man. Thank you for listening.